on March 24th, 1874. I lived in Budapest, Hungary. We didn't live there for that long, me and my family. When I was only at the age of 4, we moved to Appleton, Wisconsin. But later that year, my dad lost his job, and we moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I hopped a train when I was only 12 years old, trying to find a job for my family to help keep the house up and running. And we didn't stay there for that long either, because later that year we moved to New York. My family came a year later to join me and my father that moved earlier that year. In New York, me and my family found jobs. I found a job at a tie factory and made friends with Jacob Hyman. My favorite musician his name was Houdini, and I liked that name, so I had an I to the end to make it my own, and I was often called Harry, so Harry Houdini was born. Jacob finally lost interest in magic, and he gave the entire company to me. So Theo, my younger brother, joined the act, and the Brother Houdinis was born. Me and my brother were invited to Coney Island to perform. And later that evening after the show, my brother invited me to go meet the Floral Sisters. And I said yes. And then when I saw Bess, it was love at first sight. We got married 3 weeks later. When Bess joined the show, Theo left, and the Brother Houdinis just simply became the Houdinis. Me and Bess were asked to go perform at the Palm Garden when I was just 25 years old. Scouts were looking for performers for their organization, and they took us to dinner and asked us if we would perform for them for $60 a month, excuse me. And when I was age of 39, my mom died of a stroke. The next years were really depressing, and I could barely hold myself up for my performances. When I was 42 years old, we made our first independent movie. It was about a man who was frozen in time in the Arctic ice. It was called Frozen in Time. I was the starring star. In the middle of a performance later on in that year, my ankle broke when I was doing my famous getting out of the straight jacket hanging upside down. A few days later, on October 22nd, 1926, I was laying on the couch behind backstage when a couple of boys walked in. They were high school students, and one of their kids' name was Whitehead. His first name remains a mystery. The Whitehead asked me if I could really take the hardest blows to my abdomen, and I said yes, and he was like, "Prove it, let me try." So while I was standing up, he thought I was preparing to get punched. So he punched me, and I was in great pain because I was not prepared. The other high school students were terrified. I was in great pain. I performed that night, though, and refused to go to the doctors until we got to our next stop. I couldn't take the pain when we got to our next stop, and the doctor was there waiting for me. He told me that I had bursted my appendix, and it would have bursted without the punches. They just sped up the process. I died on Halloween, October 31st, 1926, a few days after the punches. Well, that's the story of my life. Any questions?